Hello, hello. Welcome. Happy Monday. Something I just want to be mindful of with you is that on Mondays, it's kind of like go, go, go. We got to like charge into the week. But then we burn out midweek, right? By Thursday, we're just done, Thursday morning. And I want to invite you to be mindful of how you might just want to charge into the week. And instead, some weeks, you might just move slowly into the week. You're pacing yourself so that you've got the stamina and the energy to take you all the way through the week. And if you're anything like me, Mondays feel like a Saturday because, I've had my kids all weekend and it's just me and my husband, and we're just kind of, tag teaming it all day long. Whereas, when we send them off to daycare or preschool, wherever, that school, then it's like, there's your sigh of like, okay, let me attend to things a little bit more thoroughly. So that's why today's Mommy Moves, they're going to be about just kind of activating the core for sure, and just bringing attention to our equilibrium again, centering, grounding, and restoring us, making us ready for the week. Yeah, you in? Okay, let's go. Welcome, welcome. All right, so we're going to start laying down. And I'm not going to be all in the screen for some of this. Sorry, guys, because I do have to extend my legs and then they get cut off. But anyway, we're going to start with giving ourselves a nice hug, taking your hands to the back of your thighs and just bringing your knees to your chest. So take your hands to the back of your thighs, and as much as you can, you probably want to stay hip width distance in the ankles and the knees, and just keep a flat back. Take a nice inhale and exhale. I've got active arms here because you'll see my elbows are out, because I really want to focus on aligning the hips. So in this move, we're just kind of like opening up the low back, the hips, and even the pelvic floor. So that sacral area gets to open up. And we're maintaining that distance. Now we can bring our hands to the front of the shins and just kind of give another little squeeze, a little hug. Keep a long neck, almost like you're bringing it to the floor, but you're still maintaining a proud chin. Inhale, exhale. And then plant your feet on the floor. Keep your hip width distance in your knees pointed up. And you're gonna take your hands. This is an option that you can take them at your side, or I like to just kind of shimmy them under my hips. So just shy of like completely under, the more my thumbs are under. And you're gonna extend your legs up. Keep them straight, extend your toes. So long legs as much as you can. Hold your core to your spine. Just give it a nice squeeze there, like maintain that connection. And then still a low back, flat spine on the floor. And then you're just going to drop it to a hover, about an inch off the floor. Hold, inhale, exhale. Inhale up, exhale down. And go at your own pace. And honestly, the exhale doesn't have to come on the descending side. It could go on the ascending side. So when you bring up your legs, you can also exhale, because you're going to get that work in the low abs and really in the whole abdominal wall through this whole thing. So it's up to you. You can alternate. You can inhale as you rise and then exhale when you reach the full extension. Okay? So about 10 of these. Go at your own pace, do your own count. We'll pick it up at 3, 2, and we're going to hover. Pause at the hover here on this 1. So stay there and just give little flutter kicks. Maintain that low back on the mat. Flutter kicks in with a nice little like forced exhale, really loud and really fast. And you're going to let the inhale come when it comes, that big inhale. So figure about 20 of these, or 10, or 5, or 2. And 3, 2, and 1. Plant your feet on the floor. Keep your knees hip-width distance. And I'm going to move these blocks, but you will want these handy. So a couple things here. Let's start with Supta Baddha Konasana, reclined down angle. Just keep the soles of your feet together, and let's use these blocks if you need them. And then open your knees wide. The blocks here, or a pillow or a bolster, whatever you have, will help support this posture. And you can keep your hands, you can really place them anywhere. I like to place them on my hips just to kind of maintain the connection to the purpose of this move. And the purpose is to open the hips, twist the hips, realign the hips, bring attention to them. And the psoas, that whole psoas area, the inner groin muscle, sacrum, everything's kind of getting a nice little opening here. I'm going to remove my blocks because I want a little bit more opening. And this feels fine to me, so if it doesn't feel fine to you, find your modification. And then notice here, so if your hands are on your hips like mine are, notice what's off, what's different. Like if one hip is falling a little bit more toward the floor, what does that do to the other hip? And how is that compromising your entire posture here? So let's bring mindfulness to the hips. And then what does that mean? For me, I've got kind of this like fall of the right hip more so than the left, that it almost brings up the left hip. So if I were to grab a block under my knee and place it there, then I can realign my hips and they're level. So imagine that I need just a prop on one side, not both. So remember that's also an option. You don't need to bolster both sides. And then I like to remove the block because I want to find if I can bring myself into alignment on my own. So for me, that just means a little bit more of a long spine, a flat, even spine, and maybe helping myself pull my core out of my hips. So extending that rib to hip ratio, like that distance. Okay, help bring your hands to your knees, close. And we're going to just stay here and feel what that feels like in neutral hips. Now we've got knees pointed up, hip width distance, flat feet. And we're just noticing. Now extend your hands overhead. Again, I'm cut off here, but my hands are just open, palms facing up. If this doesn't feel good, don't do it. Keep your hands at your side. But if it does, if it's a nice little opening to the ribs, the chest, and even the, why do I keep forgetting what this is? Scapula? This area. We're going to let that feel good. And then we're going to flex the feet. We're just going to go side to side. You can bring your knees together if you want, but it's also okay to kind of have your knees not fall together. Right, and just do kind of this side by side windshield wiper move. And then pause into center. Do about 5 of these on each side. And then come to center. And then bring your hands back down to your side. And then now walk your feet to touch. So bring them together, knees now touch on purpose. And then now we fall to one side. You're going to shimmy your hips back so that you have kind of energetically hips to shoulders. So if I was like this, it's an even plane. But we're going to turn our spine and place both shoulders flat on the mat. Old post arms. Gaze is forward. So instead of extending to the side like this, we're actually going to stay up with our gaze up to the ceiling on purpose, because we're not necessarily wanting that full rotation in the full spine. we really want to concentrate our attention on our hips. Sometimes I like to take this opposite hand to the hip, so for me it's my left, and almost prop it forward. So then I've got a really stacked hip posture. But that did take me to use my arm like a frame, I don't know, frame, like something that holds a frame, and prop it up. And see what that feels like. Breath in and out. And now release the hands, come back to center. Correct your hips to be flat on the mat, level with each other. We're going to do the other side. So ankles touch, feet touch, ball mounds of the feet touch, knees touch, and then we fall to the opposite side. Shimmy, so you've got stacked hips. Shoulders are flat on the mat, gazes up to the ceiling. Goal post your arms. Open your palms. Just let it feel good. Here you can see a little bit better my little frame prop. So I'm propping up my hips to stack. And taking a breath. At any point, I'll flex my feet so that I'm not neglecting the protection of my knees. And I'll even spread my toes, just so that I'm mindful of that entire lower half's joints. But, being able to find yourself in a relaxed state with your feet, with your knees, everything, and the focus is just on the hips, there's power in that. And if it's comfortable, then you're really isolating the attention and the oxygenation and the movement on an area that really, gets half the attention a lot of the time. Inhale back to center, flatten your feet, or flat feet on the mat, but level your hips to flat. And then now knock your knees together, walk your feet out wide so the edge of your feet hit the edge of the mat. And just take your time here. Here, your hands come back to your hips and kind of see where it's level here. How can we level out? For me, my left side now lifts more, and it's more that inner, kind of where the tailbone meets the ilium, the sacrum meets the ilium. It's kind of like that area that's up off the floor. And so that's some attention. And the longer I sit in this, the more that's going to fall down flat to the floor. Gravity's going to be allowed to, realign those hips so that they're level with one another instead of one, lifting up. And that brings to mind like how I sit on the couch on the regular, like when I'm mostly just wanting to veg. What's my posture on the couch? And how many times am I doing that over doing this? And if that's not in equal proportion, then obviously the bad posture is going to win if I've not countered it. And I say bad because the body's meant to adjust and perform and align itself to support us in whatever shape we're taking. So if we're standing up, then it's going to work its way to make us, our height. So that means it's going to, because that's kind of the perspective of how we're seeing the world. So the rest of the body just falls in line with that perspective. So I'm at 5'4", my body's going to keep me at 5'4", because that's where my eyes are. I see from this vantage point, and so the rest of the body is going to, fall underneath that and make it work, stack itself like Tetris from head to toe, and gravity's just going to kind of set it and lock it in place. So there's no bad posture necessarily, there's just serving you posture. Your body's serving your intention. And so if I sit long enough in something that's helping gravity bring it back to alignment, which is my preference, because it feels so much better, then nothing's compromised. I've got space between joints. My vertebra is stacked properly and not, clenching a disc. So I've just got space. And I like structure. And so to me, the alignment is structure. So just enjoy this for a second longer. One breath to close it out. and then walk your feet in, just shimmy them together, and we're done. I often like to just kind of lay my feet out flat and just kind of give it just sit in corpse pose a little bit to see what that did. Okay, so hips feel a little bit better, as far as opening and all that. And we're done. Thanks for coming on. If there's any questions, let me know. I don't see any live questions, but always comment. Let me know if there was questions. Hopefully that was nice and juicy. I definitely talked for a lot of it and made it more than 5 minutes. Peace. Have a good week. See you tomorrow.